My name is Penelope, and my husband's name is Jordan. Jordan and I are from very different backgrounds. I was a scholarship student, and he was on the rowing team. He came from money and had to work hard to get to where I was. But we met, and we fell in love. That was when we were 19, freshmen at university. Young, dumb, but bright-eyed about the future. We didn't let our differences interfere. Our wedding was small because his parents didn't approve and my parents died when I was young. Jordan became my life, and I let him. 9 months ago, I became pregnant, and today, I started having contractions. I called an ambulance because my husband was away at work. The paramedics took me into the ambulance and started driving me to the hospital.
Take deep breaths, ma'am. You're going to be fine.
Where's my husband? Where's Jordan?
He's aware you're going into labor, but he's too far away. He's trying to get here as fast as possible. Don't you worry, his dad is already on the way.
I was so surprised. My father-in-law is a miserable man. He hated me and assumed that the only reason I married his son was for the money. I thought I'd prove them wrong when I signed the prenup, but I don't think the suspicion will ever go away.
We're almost at the hospital now. You're doing great.
My doctor told me that Jordan was flying back immediately and wouldn't be available for the next 5 hours. He explained that my labor could last much longer than that, so I didn't need to worry too much that he'd miss our baby being born. Still, I was more nervous with my father-in-law here than I would have been had I been alone. And that was when I overheard the whispered conversation between Gavin Keller, my father-in-law, and Dr. Stark.
I understand this might be unconventional, but I have a proposition for you that I can make incredibly attractive. What say you to earning $10,000 for a little act of moral deception? I'm not sure what you're suggesting, Mr. Keller, but I find bribes regarding my patient's health to be very unprofessional. You drive a hard bargain. Consider this. For the low price of handing that baby over to me and telling her that it died, I will give you $50,000. Even a rich man would be a fool to say no to such money for such a small ask.
I could have cried. I was in pain with the labor and scared out of my wits. How was I supposed to keep my baby safe while in this state?
Okay, you have a deal.
It was time for action. I called my friend, Janet. She's a midwife and has been helping me prepare all through my pregnancy. She was the perfect person for this job, and I trusted her with both mine and my baby's life. I didn't tell her much over the phone, but I explained that I needed her help sneaking me out of the hospital. She didn't even hesitate. She showed up 30 minutes later and used her authority as a medical professional to convince them she was going to take me on a stroll around the property. She found me a wheelchair and we went towards the doors to the hospital well-being gardens. Then, she pushed the wheelchair out and into the parking lot. I don't think anyone saw us. Now, do you want to explain why we're leaving the hospital when you're very clearly in danger? My father-in-law is trying to steal my baby. He offered the doctor $50,000 to pretend it died in childbirth. I don't know why, though. I already signed a prenup. I can't imagine what he'd gain from this. Having a baby changes things. You might not be entitled to half of his estate or whatever, but you're definitely going to be entitled to more than you were before the baby came along. I hadn't thought about it. Since graduating, Jordan stopped taking money from his parents. We both went in for entry-level jobs and both got promoted to high-level positions. We're not rich, but we're doing okay. I only signed the prenup so that if anything happened, his parents would know that I'd never turn to them for money. Evidently, that reassurance is useless now. I can't believe how far they're willing to go for such petty reasons. I don't think I've ever done anything that would make them suspect me of such gold-digging behaviors. I've worked for everything I have. I've never accepted charity. They have no right to accuse me of these things. Don't let yourself get worked up, Penny. We're going to get you away from the hospital, and you and your baby are going to be fine. Here we are. We're home. Pass me your phone. I'll send Jordan a call and let him know what's happening. The pain and stress was so intense that I didn't even question why she'd use my phone. But then, I overheard what she was saying. She didn't call Jordan. She called my father-in-law! Mr. Keller, I believe I have something you want, and I know exactly how much you're willing to pay for it. I deliver you the baby, and you deliver me the dough. I was having a bad day. I was about to give birth, my husband was on a flight miles and miles away, and I had 2 people willing to hurt my baby for money. Hey, Janet, do you mind if I use your bathroom? Sure, honey. Just let me know if you need any help. I needed help, sure, just not from her. Getting up from the sofa was a pain, but I managed to waddle over to the kitchen. Janet had left my phone on the counter while she went to the front of the house. I used that opportunity to get out of the back door. I hailed a cab and told him to get me to a hospital. So long as it wasn't the one I'd just left, I would be fine. He got me there in 5 minutes, and I finally got through to my husband. Your dad tried to bribe the doctor into stealing my baby!
Tell me the name of the hospital. I'll be there as fast as I can.
The hospital security were warned about the doctor and about Janet. No one was allowed to come near me, except for Jordan. When he finally arrived, I cried into his shoulder for hours. I couldn't believe what I'd had to go through without him. He called the police, and they arrested Janet. She was sent to prison for 6 months. Then they arrested Dr. Stark and stripped him of his license. Finally, Jordan called his father.
I shouldn't be surprised that you'd sink so low, but know that you finally crossed the line. You will never see me or your grandchild again. Congratulations, Dad. You've cut off the last of your family.
As relieved as I was to have them out of our lives, I was sad for the disconnect between Jordan and his family. Growing up as an orphan, I knew what that was like. But then, I gave birth to our baby boy and realized that we were making our own family, one worth being proud of and one worthy of our love. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Tyson, and recently I found out that my wife, Natasha, is pregnant. We've been married for 5 years, and have been trying for a baby since our wedding night. The news has changed our entire lives. We set about painting the baby's room. The bigger the bump grew, the more the room had in it. A crib of dark wood, paintings on the wall of teddy bears and rainbows, and toys lining the shelves. It's the perfect room for a baby. It was the perfect room for the start of our little family. And then, one stray morning, something happened that changed everything and tore down the visage of white picket fences.
Tyson, there's a baby on the doorstep.
What are you... I joined Natasha on the doorstep, and just as she said, there was a baby in a carrier, sleeping. We should bring it in and call the police, right? I brought the baby inside and found a letter. It said, I had this baby, it's yours. I found out where you lived because I followed you home from the supermarket. I can't raise a baby, but you can. Deal with it.
What is this, Tyson? Who is this woman?
I swear I have no idea, but I know she's got it wrong. This can't be my baby. And then a picture fell out of the envelope, and there was a woman with long black hair and a skimpy dress standing next to me. I swear this isn't me. Natasha became hysterical. She couldn't speak. She took one look at the picture and burst into furious tears. She grabbed her car keys and left. Then it was just me and a baby. And I had to struggle through my memory to figure out when this could have happened. If it did really happen. Was it a drunken night? But I can't remember the last time I had let myself lose control around alcohol. Not in the last year especially. Maybe I temporarily lost my mind? There isn't really a logical answer to this. All I know is that there's a baby starting to wake up. Suddenly, just as the baby starts to cry, my phone begins to ring. Hello? It was my sister-in-law, Zoe.
Hey, Ty. Nat told me what was happening. And I guess she was too hysterical to think this through, and I know you're not the brains of the operation either, so it's probably not crossed your mind, but you should go get a paternity test. I called my guy, and he's waiting for you. I'll text you the address, and we'll be there with you. See you soon.
Zoe is like the mean older sister who's always there to help when you need her. I take the crying baby and pop a pacifier in its mouth, and then I bring it out to the car. It takes me a long time to figure out how to strap the baby in, but then we were on our way to the doctor's office. Natasha and Zoe were already in the waiting room.
Hey, the doctor said he'd see us the moment you arrived, so let's go through. Hi, little guy.
Zoe took the baby out of the carrier and started to play with it. The doctor then took a swab of the baby's mouth, and then my own. It'll be ready in an hour. I'll call you back when it's done. I felt so much better knowing that at any moment the doctor would come out and declare the baby someone else's responsibility. We can put this little blight behind us and continue on as though nothing changed. You are the father. No, that's not possible.
I can't believe you do this to me! I defended you, man. You've messed up big time.
No, wait, Natasha, something isn't... Zoe and Natasha left. I was alone again with a baby that the doctor had told me was mine, and I had absolutely no idea what to do. It can't be my baby, it just can't. I would never cheat on my wife, I love her far too much. And yet, something must have happened for me to end up with a baby in my arms, from an affair I don't remember having with a woman I don't remember meeting. It's not fair that I'd be thrown into such an impossible situation, but I'm suddenly aware that I have no options. So, I go to see who I always turn to in times of trouble, my mom and dad. Mom, Dad, I'm so glad you're in. I need your help. Would it have anything to do with the baby you're holding in your arms? Dad always had the wildest sense of humor. My mother, however, does not seem to find this situation worth a laugh.
Tyson, what on earth are you doing with a baby? Natasha isn't due for another 3 months.
Dad hustled us all inside and set about making us some tea. Then, while we were sitting around the table, my dad looked at the baby and started to play with it.
Who's the baby?
I don't know. I don't know whose baby it is. I don't know what its name is. I just know that it was dropped off on my doorstep with a note telling me it was mine. Son? Dad? No, I swear. I didn't. Except, well, the doctor did a paternity test and said it was a 99.99% match.
No, I don't think you did.
I don't know why you think this is funny.
But it is. Tyson, you're not the father. If you're telling the truth and you never really had an affair, then how could you be the father?
But then, what about the paternity test? I see what's going on here. Tell me, Tyson, how did the woman address you in the letter? She didn't. She just said that she followed me home from the supermarket and that the baby was mine. And who might be mistaken for you if someone is looking from a distance? Who do you share a lot of your DNA with? Almost 100% of your DNA, to be exact. It all comes together with a shock of clarity. Of course the baby isn't mine. How could it be? I've never had an affair. I've never put myself in a situation where I might have accidentally had an affair. It's Mark's baby.
Congratulations! You're an uncle!
Looking back, I couldn't believe how long it took me to come to that conclusion. It's the only thing that made sense after all. I took the baby to my brother's house, and when he opened the door, it was like looking in the mirror. My twin even styles his hair the same way. Mark, I believe that you had a relationship with the woman in this picture. I showed him the picture and then explained it all to him. I was worried he'd freak out, but he was elated. I have a baby? I was happy that Mark was excited to be a father, but I was still nervous about explaining everything to my wife. It's hardly a believable story. I'd understand if she didn't accept it. I took her back to the doctor's, and we met Mark there. The doctor explained the DNA, and Mark told us about the woman. Finally, she accepted the truth. And, several months later, we were the proud parents of a baby girl. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.